Hi there, I'm High Def, and I would like to welcome you to my over the shoulder progressive house production course. Before we start any of the lessons, I think it's just a good idea for us to listen through to the song and just get an idea of what it is and how it's going to sound at the end when we're done with all the production. So I think right now, all I'm going to do is just hit play, and then after we've listened to the song, then we can actually get into the course. Then we can start talking about the production process and things like that. So for now, let's just listen to the song, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so there you have it. That is the song that we are going to be producing. That song is unmixed, so you just basically listen to the finished production process with no mixing. All the mixing that I did during the actual process of making the song, that is all that you heard there. So the song definitely needs a mix, but that is a topic for another conversation. Before we can mix something, we first have to have something. So we can't think about mixing until we actually have something good. This course is meant for producers that are new to producing, that have just started producing, and that wants to get into the whole idea of producing music on their computers. So I figured, let me simplify the production process for all the beginners so that you can put it into a few steps that you can just follow along with. So what you're going to find with music production is that you will generally go through 4 different phases, and once you are done with those 4 phases, it will be ready for mixing and mastering. Okay, so let me give you an overview of each part. Part 1 is creating the loop. Okay, part 2 is developing the loop. Part 3 is song arrangement, and part 4 is fine-tuning. Okay, so let's talk about creating the loop. So the loop is usually a 4-bar or an 8-bar section that is a basic idea for a song. It is not a full song. It is not even a section of a song. It is a basic idea for a song. Even though it is such a small section, it is the most important part of the process. Let me tell you why. A lot of times as new producers, we fall into this trap of working for hours on something, and then at the end of the day, we find out that the thing that we worked on is actually not good. And then we have to start over, but we've wasted all that time. Okay, so the mindset should be, we're going to spend hours finishing a song, so we might as well work on something that we actually like. But how do you know that you actually like something? So in my opinion, the best way to do this is to actually create multiple little loops and to then choose the one that you like the most, and then you can work on that and turn that one into a song. So as producers, you need to get used to this idea of filtering, and filtering basically means you create a lot and then you pick the best out of the bunch that you created, and then you turn those ones into finished songs. Okay, what that is going to do is, first of all, it is going to help you to practice the whole creation process. So what will happen is you will build confidence with the whole creation process, because a lot of times as a new producer, you might not believe yet that you can actually come up with something whenever you want. You might be so in love with an idea because you actually don't believe you can come up with another idea. So when you create a lot of small ideas, after a while it's going to click in your mind that you can actually come up with an idea whenever you want to. The second benefit of filtering is that it's going to help you to actually create better music. So the finished music that you actually want to play for your friends, or that you actually want to release to your fans, will actually sound better because you have picked the best ones out of the ideas that you created, and you turned those best ones into finished songs. Okay, so it is a very, very valuable part of the process. So this filtering idea should actually take place whenever you are busy producing, even throughout the production process. If you're busy with a melody, why not just create another melody and put them up against each other and check which one sounds the best? So just filter out all the crap so that you are just left with all the best ideas. Okay, so just keep that idea in mind. So this whole loop creation part of the process is built around that idea of filtering. What you're trying to do is you're trying to create a loop that you like, and then you will judge that loop and decide if you actually want to make it into a song. Okay, so what are you actually busy with while you are making the loop? Let's look at it. Okay, so let's look at the sounds that you find in a typical beat or in a typical song. Okay, an instrumental song. You are going to have 2 main categories. There's going to be sounds in that song that are essential to the song, and there's going to be sounds in that song that are non-essential. Now, different genres will have different things as essentials and different things as non-essentials. So let me lay out just the basics here. That's like a standard go-to overview of essential elements or essential sounds in a song and non-essential sounds in a song. So under essentials, you have things like chord progressions, you have things like melodies, you have things like drums, and you have things like the bass line. So those 4 things makes up what we call the essentials of a typical beat. Then you have the non-essentials. Non-essentials would be things like percussions, and then there might be transition sounds, and then there might be special effect sounds, and then there might be ambience that's layered throughout the song. Those 4 things will typically form up the non-essential sounds in a beat or in a song. So the idea is the essentials forms the core of the actual beat, while the non-essentials support the essentials. Okay, if you took out all the essentials, the beat wouldn't make sense. If you took out the non-essentials, the beat would still make sense. It might just sound empty. Okay, think of it that way. So during this first part of the process, when you are creating the loop, of course you are going to start off with those 4 essentials. You are going to be working on basic drums, you might be working on some chords, building up a chord progression, you might be adding a melody or 2, and you're probably going to add a bass line. The genre you are busy with is probably going to inform which of those things you are going to work on first and which is going to be more important, but in general you are going to work on those 4 things. Okay, so that's kind of like what you should be thinking of when you are busy with part 1, is to just try and make those 4 things: a basic drum pattern, a chord progression, 1 or 2 melodies, and a bass line. Okay, and just make it like a 4-bar or an 8-bar loop, and then just take it from there. You save that idea, you save that loop, you open up a new project, you start again, you make another loop, do the same thing, work on the drums, add some chords, add some melody, or maybe you start with the chords and then you add a melody and then you add drums, or maybe you start on the bass line. You can decide what things you are going to start with first. That is totally up to you. The idea is just that you are focusing on those 4 main things, which is drums, chords, melody, and bass line, and then once you are at the end of that, you save that project and you start something new. And then when you've had some time away from those little ideas, what you can do is you can open them up and actually listen to them, and you can decide if you actually like them. And then if you actually like what you've made, you can then go further and actually work on it and go over to part 2 of the process. Okay, so that basically sums up the whole idea behind part 1 of the process, which is creating the loop. I want to also tell you a little bit about how you can expect the course to be laid out. So what I did was I actually recorded the entire production process of me making a song inside of my software, but I didn't talk through the process. So what you will find with the videos is that the videos are silent in terms of me delivering commentary. So I don't deliver comments throughout the production process. What you will find is that the videos themselves has a lot of little text boxes sprinkled throughout each of the videos. So those text boxes are there to give you little tips for your own productions, and those text boxes are there to actually point out things that I'm doing so that you can take advantage of those techniques in your own productions as well. So don't expect a lot of talking from my side. The videos are pre-recorded footage of me actually busy working on the song, and the text boxes are there to highlight what is actually going on throughout the process. Okay, so that's the end of the introduction to the course. I'm High Def, and this is the over-the-shoulder progressive house production course. If these videos help you in your own productions, please go ahead and click the like button to all these videos and subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. I'll talk to you in the next one, and we'll actually get into making the song.